welcome back to another episode of Soulful Feasts, bite-sized information to nourish your body, mind, and spirit. I'm your host, Stephanie Zubiri, and today I am so excited because my guest this afternoon is someone who is so special to me and so dear to me. I don't think I need a lot of introduction here, but we will be talking about the individuation process. Now, if you have been listening to our podcast for a couple of seasons now, you know that I keep coming back to this individuation process, the process of becoming an individual. Well, we're here today with my therapist, now turned teacher, our beloved Miss Rose Yenko, who is a psychotherapist and OD consultant with the Carl Jung Circle of the Philippines and the Depth Institute of Asia. Hi, Miss Rose.
Hi, Stephanie.
I am so excited to have you here.
I am too. This is a new experience for me.
Yay, I'm glad. So, okay, we talk a lot about the individuation process. So, just background information. Miss Rose has helped me through my darkest times. She was the first person I called, the first professional that I called that helped me get through. This was the time where I've discussed this openly. I had some suicidal ideation. I was leaving my ex-husband. Everything had basically gone to shit in my life, and I needed to sort it out. And we had a really long 2-hour session where she went, "Wow, that's a lot." Yeah, so
Unpacking
it all. And I thought that our process was so liberating. And so I just wanted to say thank you for helping me on my journey. And hopefully this podcast can help other people.
Thank you too for the trust, because
Yes.
it has to work from trust.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, okay, we talk about the individuation process. I would like you perhaps to explain, like, what exactly does that mean?
I think when we are growing up, or as we go through our life, things happen. They can happen outside of us. They can happen inside of us. What can happen outside of us can be illness, can be death, betrayal, a business, offsetting a challenges, external challenges. So this makes us move us from our comfort zone, and it makes us say, "What's happening here?" But that's external. There's also an internal process where you say, "Nothing I do works anymore. It seems I'm reaching a dead end." Or it seems I keep on falling in love with the same kind of guy or the same kind of girl, or I always end up with the same kind of boss. So what is it? Is it the boss? Is it the girl? Is it the boy? Or is it me? Because eventually you notice that the patterns keep on repeating itself. So when that happens, these are all internal processes that makes you say, first, it's about them. And then you realize that it's no longer about them. It's about something's happening to you. So you question yourself, and maybe you give yourself a chance to reflect and not to be in denial.
Yes.
Because that can be in denial. I mean, blaming is a nice, easy way out.
Correct. Yeah.
And so when you stop and you say, "Wait a minute, I have to look at what's happening here." It can be happening outside, it can be happening inside. So then that's where I call it the murmurings.
The murmurings.
Yes, the murmurings of the soul to say, "Hey, take a look and wake up." This is also what Jung calls when the unconscious becomes conscious. When you allow for the murmurings, which are whispers from the unconscious, to you listen to the voices, you listen to the prompts, listen to your restlessness, and then you realize that, okay, you may get antsy, because it's something that is strange for you. You may have your panic attacks, you know. You may also fall under depression, or you may fall in the dark night of the soul,
Yes.
where nothing it's bleak, Okay. Uh, while may be, yes, there may be clinical explanations for that, but the individuation process is really more because something is happening inside of you that says what you're doing no longer works. You have to pay attention to how you are living your life.
And I think that's difficult for a lot of people because we all go through this, especially in the Philippines where we feel like we have a lot of duties, we have a lot of responsibilities,
Yes.
expectations that we
Yes.
put upon ourselves or other people put upon us. And it's very hard to one day you do wake up, and then what's hard is making those decisions to make the changes. Because when you start listening to your soul, now you have a choice to make. What do I do about it?
It's not easy. Okay. Uh, Paying attention is already difficult because, as I said, you can first deny. But once you say, okay, let me look at this, when the awakenings come and the realizations come, then you say, what do I do? Because you realize that it's you that's perpetuating also the patterns.
So that's what's hard, no? I think one of the most recent sessions I've had with Miss Rose was I got so triggered and angry, ayan, by the leak in my house. Because the root cause of it all was it was an over ambitious build that overstretched my finances. So therefore, it was not a quality build. Let's put it that way. And then I blamed it on my ex. And nainis talaga ako, like, oh my God, my house is leaking again because he had such an ambitious idea of the house. And I'm so angry. I thought I'm over this. And then Miss Rose is like, are you really angry at your ex? Or are you angry that you allowed yourself to give up your power? Because you signed the check. I said, oh, why are you correct? Because at the end of the day, exactly what you said, the first step in moving forward is owning the responsibility of your actions and your situations also.
Yes.
And that's hard,
Yes.
right?
No, it's not easy. Individuation is not easy. Okay. Sometimes I say that it's also for the brave and the courageous.
Yeah. So that's why sometimes you call it also the hero's quest or the hero's
Yeah.
journey.
Yes. 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 Okay. So where were we?
So we're talking about, yes, that taking ownership of your part in the situation, of perpetuating the patterns.
And then you start to look for, you might say, answers, responses. So I always say, don't go for the easy answers. Don't go for what is there immediately because you're having the jitters because you gotta know. You have to be in control of your life. So one of the things about individuation is you find out that you cannot control everything about your life. Okay. And again, that's another hard
Yeah.
process.
An acceptance of the
Yeah.
only thing you can control is yourself.
When that happens, don't jump immediately, as I said, to a fast and easy answer. You have to give yourself, okay, step back a bit and say, what's there? And you gotta walk a bit. You have to be curious a bit. You have to be uh, in meandering mode a bit, in questioning mode a bit, uh, in learning. So there is a kind of a travel that happens, the travel of the mind, the travel of the body even. Sometimes when you're in an individuation process, you go off by your own. you
Yeah.
know you hie off to a retreat place or another country, where there's a shift of perspectives, a shift of uh, cultural collective consciousness that takes you out of where the cultural consciousness, you know,
It's perhaps
has
inhibiting you right now.
inhibits you or has imprisoned you in a way because
Yeah.
the patterns are very much, there.
Isn't that interesting? So, just making it a bit more relatable to people, like there were times in my life where I felt my most free self when I was out of the country.
Yes.
Diba? Like na parang
Yes.
here, people expect me to be a certain way, especially I think for a lot of women, you're
Yeah.
expected to act and look and be a certain way. And then when you're abroad, you can be you. Diba?
Or you find aspects of you
True.
that you were not able to develop. That's why I think it's a good idea, if you can, to, to go out of the country, to get out of that, what I call the cultural narrative that keeps you in that space. The story about who you are, how you should behave, what's expected from you, So all of that, you can craft uh, a story about who you are when you're out of the country.
Yeah, isn't that so special and powerful, no? How that you get to choose.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And I recommend this when you're young.
Mahirap na matanda, but people have to go through it no matter what the age, no? So, I have a question. Can you share your own experience? Did you have an experience of individuation that
Oh, yes, definitely. That is why travel is a very important story in my first individuation milestone, you might say. We keep on individuating. I mean, there are milestones, and until we die, we still individuate because there's so much of us that we find out and that we can integrate into our lives so that our lives become bigger, more whole, more joyful. Okay. So yes, so travel was a big part of my first individuation process, or my earlier. I will not say first, my earlier.
earlier?
Yeah, not necessarily the first, but earlier. Yeah.
So I love the use of the word integrate because I think a lot of people mistake this growth process or evolution process as leaving the past behind, leaving parts of yourself behind. I've outgrown that phase of my life, but really that's just pushing it to the shadows, right? I mean, a big part is also integrating all aspects of self.
I think part of that is when you, in the beginning stages, you will reject everything that you wear, or there's a tendency to do that. And then you say, that's not me. Or I do not like to be like my mother, like my father, or whoever is your, you know, internal enemy, And so you cast yourself as someone exactly opposite that person until you find out that it does not work, you know and so the process of, okay, as I said, as in the period of reflection, you say, okay, so what's mine and what's the other person's, and then you realize that what's mine may be mine, but what's the other person's, can there's also good stuff, good things, and you can be open and say, yes,
I will take those good things.
I will take those good things. So maybe a cute little story was, there's this lady. She told herself she would never be like her mother. Okay, and so
Don't
her
we all say that? No, at some point in our lives, I will be like my mother.
and so her mother was quite, she loved jewelry, and she was vanidosa, and so this woman said, I'll never, do that. She was in her late 50s, and she realized she was missing out. Okay, and so said, oh, maybe wearing jewelry and putting on lipstick and makeup, that's okay. That doesn't change who I am. You know, and so at the late age of 50s, there she goes.
It's funny because there are times in our life where I really hear my mother's voice, Naren, and I don't reject it anymore. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. So there are parts of us and our past that we really have to integrate and to be a part of that whole. So why do you think, particularly in the Philippines, in the collective unconscious of the Philippines, why is it so difficult for people to break away and be their own person?
Oh, because the social pressure and the stigma and maybe the shame is very strong.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, of course, you have the marites around, whether it's in one's own family, especially if one has a clan,
Yes.
or even one's own set of friends or set of classmates. It's a very strong social mechanism,
Mhm.
you know, to to conform to expectations.
Yeah.
So that's why I say to individuate is a courageous process.
Yes.
Yes.
It's very difficult. But what happens if we don't? If we don't listen to, as you called it, the murmurings of our soul, what are the risks that we're inviting into our life?
People, of course, make a choice, right? That they will not pay attention to
Yeah.
these murmurings. They'll set it aside and proceed according to the life plan that they have always had in their heads.
No,
No?
I know a lot of people like that. No? It's like, this is the plan. This is the. And
Yes,
frankly, for me, for a long time,
yeah,
I was like that also. You just push it aside. Yeah.
yes. And until, well, we call it the universe, but it can be the unconscious, throws you a curveball
Yeah.
and
Which you
throws
like
you.
to call the trickster,
Yes,
right?
and your life plan goes, whoops, I did see that coming,
Yes.
So yes, so that can shake your world, and then you say, okay, that's when you say, all right, this isn't working.
So I know a lot of people who really will maybe like allow the outburst and then come back into the confinement, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
what is the risk for that for the broader audience out there who is like, I don't know if I have the courage. I think I want to just stay in my comfort zone. Like, what's the risk?
The risk is maybe one soul is less than what? Less than full,
Hmm.
less than whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you stick to the script, and that's the one that says, I'm happy with my script. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We're not knocking people who have chosen that path.
Yeah.
That's okay. Um, but sometimes when they bury the murmurings of their soul, there can be an illness.
Mm.
Okay? Because there can be a big energy that is trapped inside oneself. And that the trapped energy, which can be one of wishes and desires and dreams and hopes that one has not uh, given space to grow, that energy can implode.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's the danger.
So we really talk a lot about energy and body, mind, spirit in this podcast. And it's actually Miss Rose who gave me the book to read, Body Mind
Oh,
by
yes.
Ken Dickwald, which was like so life-changing for me, which really in that sense that when we bury feelings, sensations, traumas, emotions inside and don't allow it to come to the light, then it makes you sick, physically makes you sick.
That's why if you have a secret has energy. Okay? So it's meant to be somehow expressed in a sacred
Right.
space, in a
Yeah.
sacred way.
I want to come back to what you said about energy, no? So secrets have energy, emotions have energy. Um, what do we do with that energy? Cannot be created nor destroyed, no? So where do you channel it?
Ah, this is where our work, our Jungian work, comes into play. This is where we use imagination.
Mm.
Okay, so sometimes in my work with client, let's say fear.
Yes.
Fear is very much a powerful emotion,
Yeah.
and it can hound the person, and it can be a, you know, all of these voices that keep on,
Yeah.
haunting you at night. You cannot sleep. uh, a new rumination of these voices. So, so I asked the client to give it an image. So what does the image look like? And embody that image, whether it is a character that she knows or he knows, or someone that's in literature, or besides an image. So you give a body and a presence to that fear, and then afterwards you have a conversation with that image
Yeah.
and ask that image, what is it? You know, why are you scared? Or where's that fear? Why are you afraid?
Yeah.
You know.
We did this exercise
Yeah.
in one of our classes together.
Yes.
And it's incredible how when you give yourself the space to let that energy be tangible, the
Yes.
things that come out when you write, it's almost like your hand is just being
Yes.
channeled
Yes.
by that energy.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
like an overtaking of that energy, and
Yes.
then it's a real conversation and so much insight about
Yes.
you or what that energy is trying to tell you.
Yes. And so not to be afraid of these strong emotions, because they come from somewhere. They come from your psyche, and they wish to tell you something.
Yes.
They wish to have a conversation with you. We're talking earlier
Correct.
about conversations. Yes. And so you give them pencil and paper. I mean, you write it down in a dialogue, you write it down in a script, you visualize them in an art form, so that then they become alive. Then when they become alive, then okay,
You can process it better.
with them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found that very powerful when we did this exercise. And because sometimes you don't know why you're feeling this way, but if you allow it to take shape and form, then it becomes so clear. Right? So, giving your emotions. So, just to recap, because this could be a really great moment for you guys. If you have powerful emotions, fear, grief, anger, even annoyance with somebody, we did this with the shadow work, right? And just imagine it as a being and then have a conversation with that being. It's so insightful, really insightful.
As you uh, eventually find out, as you get to know your emotion through this being, uh, you find out maybe you're neglecting aspects of yourself that you didn't pay attention to. Maybe you needed to say no, and that's why the angry voice is
Yeah.
there. Maybe you need to do that for yourself in
Yes.
the actual reality setting.
Yeah.
So it's a teacher.
Have you seen that cartoon, Miss Rose, Inside Out?
I have to see the second show. I mean
The second one,
the
yeah.
second one.
But I thought it was so beautiful. Like, I love cartoons because, like, it's such a wonderful way to express emotions and feelings that you could never do with like real people on screen, because there's so much liberty of expression and fantasy, and I thought it was such a wonderful way to say, hey, you can integrate all this, like joy. I think a lot of people are like, joy, let's always be happy, let's always be happy, we're always, but then you have to give space to anger, you have to give space to sadness, you have to give
Yes.
space to all the other voices in your head, right?
Yes, yes. And I think that's a good point in terms of feelings, because in my work with clients also, clients have a hard time articulating their feelings, and they sometimes, to be able to get through whoever it is that they're expressing their feelings to, they have to have a reason for their feelings. It's almost like your feelings are not
Not valid.
valid if you don't have a right reason behind those feelings.
Yeah, but they're just there
Exactly.
and they need to be honored.
Yes. And so one of the things that I also have to teach my clients is just say your feelings. It does not have to have a reason.
Yeah.
just how you feel.
That's true. That's true. So, okay, moving a bit forward. So, one of the things that I've learned from you is at the end of an individuation process, there's, well,
Or a cycle.
a cycle. Yes,
Yeah.
a cycle. Because so it's difficult because when you come out of it as a changed person, then even your relationships will change and the way you perceive the world changes,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
we talk about, well, lots of anecdotes and stories of even Star Wars, even, all these heroes' journey into the unknown, and then you come out and you're like an alien in the old world that you knew, because you're a different person, you're changed, right? When we come towards the end of a cycle, as you said, because it's not linear, right?
Yes.
Like and there are many of them in our life. I think one of the themes I see is when people have become a new person, there's a recalibration of relationships, which is difficult, you know?
And sometimes, like, think of a client who says, my old friends, I see them every so often, but somehow I'm not happy with them anymore. It's like I have outgrown them. Yes, you have. Maybe not outgrown them in the sense that you're better than them, but you have become a different person.
Yes.
And so the connections that you had no longer is as, tight,
Yeah.
because you're coming from a different space already.
So, what I love about one of the things you told me one time is you're just not flowing in the same direction anymore with friendships, because who knows if you're going to flow back again to the friendship. And there was a time where I really felt that way. I really felt like my friends were like I felt lutang. Like I'm floating in third person, and it's all these people that I love. We didn't have any conflict, but I didn't feel like I belonged. And then I found another set of friends that are new, and I felt so comfortable with them. But I also felt guilty because I still love these friends, right?
Yes.
And you know what? When you give it time, the biggest realization is kanya-kanyang journey. Everyone in their own journey, and some of those friends were also going through their own journey, which was kind of like being triggered also by mine, and so that's why we weren't really connecting. And then once they hit a different space in their journey, we reconnected again. And it's so beautiful that real friendships can stand the test of time. So, guys, if you're kind of going through this, just trust that real friendships will always somehow flow back together.
Yes, yes. And I think this is where allowing yourself to be vulnerable to each other by sharing your own journey, your own processes, your own story of where you are, that's the one that keeps the friendship going. Yeah.
Yes. So, at the end of the individuation cycle, there's a calling to step into our power, right? There's a calling to kind of,
From the beginning pa lang.
yeah, that's true.
And you say, let me take the step.
But to really assume the power, right? So there's a really, so I was in the airplane and I was watching Frozen 2, the second,
Okay, yeah,
second.
yeah.
I don't know if you watched.
No, I
Okay,
just
you
watched Frozen 1.
Okay, must watch Frozen 2. So Frozen 1, beautiful story of the two sisters and their journeys, and so Frozen 2, Elsa, who is the queen, hears exactly that, murmurings. She starts hearing the songs of the forests, and then they go through. I was like, what is the story? It is a story about breaking an ancestral trauma, breaking the cycle, but a beautiful story of her really listening to the calling of her soul and fully becoming and stepping into her power as a mystical queen of the forest. It was
Yeah.
so, I was like, wow, amazing.
Yes, yes.
And so
Yes.
sometimes people have a fear of their evolution. Because, right? So, okay, fine. I'm going to embark on this journey. Fine. I'm okay. I'm not afraid to move forward. But there's something holding them back. And sometimes it's the fear of growth and responsibility.
I would say it's a fear of newness because, you know, comfort zone is nice.
Yes.
But newness, oh my gosh, that is really a strange landscape.
Yeah.
And so there are new mindsets, there are new competencies, there are new social pressures. So yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
But I think that's outside. But I think when you respond to the call, like in our class,
Yes.
one of your colleagues in the class, there is really a calling to step up and to be greater than where this person is now. And that is recognized already. And that is such a, oh my God, I'm so excited for this person. So I'm gonna say abangan, you know. Because what happens is you shine.
Yeah.
And when you shine, it doesn't have to be big world shine.
No.
But you shine where you are, you shine in your spheres of influence. And when you shine, that you have magic because you that is your power when you shine. It's not because you have power, but because your shining resonates with other people, and then you connect, and then you find that together you can maybe help craft a better world, a nicer world,
Yeah.
even within the sphere of influence that you are in.
I love that. That's such a beautiful place to end this conversation. When you shine, you have magic. Don't we
Yeah.
all want to be magical, no?
Yes.
Because we are. We are magical creatures.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are. We are.
We have to. And I think going back to Frozen 2, she really went and was not afraid of her magic. She went and found it, that magic pala was inside her all this time. So they're crying in the airplane. Scott's like, "Why are you crying? It's cartoons." I'm like, "I cry in all the cartoons." But it's just because a reminder that when you allow yourself to go on this journey, that you can find that magic inside.
I will say it's not
All light.
the darkness, and then after that, the light. Okay.
Thank you so much, Miss Rose. So we always like to end each podcast with like one piece of advice that someone can do today, right now. If they're listening to this and they finish the conversation with us, what can they do right now if they're sort of questioning their lives? They're hearing those murmurings.
Have a friend, and the friend can either be someone alive or something like a journal, you know, where you can write down your thoughts, and then hopefully you'll have a companion who will also be able to delight with you, be excited for you, and not be scared for you, you know, as you as you embark on this process of first questioning, and then eventually meandering, and then hopefully in your meandering discovering something that is your gift, your magic, your shine.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much. And, for me, the only thing I want to leave all of you with is it's scary, but it's beautiful. It is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself and to the people around. I am getting emotional. It is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself is to get to know yourself and to allow yourself to shine. And you can help so many other people, even by going through the darkness. Yeah. So don't be afraid of your journey. Thank you so much, Miss Rose. I'm so happy you're on our podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for this space.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to know more about the Carl Jung Circle Center of the Philippines and the
Yes.
Depth Institute of Asia,
We have our website.
okay, so we'll just put the website down there. You can check on the links. We've got it all there. Thank you so much. And I hope today brought you a little bit of insight and comfort that you might be feeling super alone, but you are not alone. We have all gone through this. We are all going through this together. Your beautiful journey is unique and it's your own, and we're here for you, right? So thank you so much for listening. This is Stephanie Zubiri of Soulful Feasts, bite-sized information to nourish your body, mind, and spirit.